This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, fabulous day to you. And actually, I'm jazzed because our special guest today, I actually got to play with earlier today when we did a stellar webinar on the Author's Success Toolkit. And when I think about what this all involves, I am really taking back a long time ago. And I can remember when I sent my very first book. First, I got my deal. And that was in 1979. And then I sent my very first book, all finished, done, to the publisher. And I have to tell you, back in 1981, I was a nervous Nelly. I had no idea what it was going to do to take it. I knew nothing about manufacturing. I knew nothing about printing. I knew zippo about anything except for that I had written a book. And so it's, you have all those things. What do you do? Well, let's fast forward now a few decades where over half of all books today are being published by the indie and self-publishing market. We are really ellipsing what we're doing. And that with that, it just has changed a huge amount. So we're doing it ourselves, or we're hiring people who are professionals to support us. And what we're going to be doing today, and my guest today is Joel Friedlander, who is the book designer, but he's also the creator and the innovator for a variety of successful toolkits, along with his partner, Tracy Atkins, for authors. He's the publisher, the author of the Self-Publisher's Ultimate Resource Guide, as well as the Self-Publisher's Companion. And what we're going to do is walk through some of the roadmaps for you to be successful using Amazon, because Amazon is going to be selling anywhere from 60 to 70% of your books. And so if you're still poo-pooing Amazon, you get slapped on the hand, get over it. You've got to have them as a player. That's just the way it is. So with that said, Joel, welcome back to the program. I know you've been on several times.
Hey, thanks, Judith. It's really great to be back.
Yeah, it was fun, and I thought we had fun today.
Absolutely. I mean, you get a couple of us in a room together, and you start talking about publishing books, selling books, marketing books. We could just kind of keep going on and on and on, couldn't we, Judith?
We could. We're our own little show itself. So here we go. So Joel, one of the things is that you heard I said I was a nervous Nelly. I really was, because here's one of the reasons where I didn't know any better, which I do know today, and I encourage all authors to speak up. I mean, and I was a kept author. I've said that many times on the air. I was a kept author back in the 80s. And when I exited my relationship with William Morris, who was my agent at the time, and decided that I was and created my own publishing house in 2000. So I had a 15-year run there.
Wow.
And I left that and started my own. Number one, I have never looked back. Number two, all my foreign sales, the 16 countries I've sold books to, have all come from my own efforts, never from the publishing house. And that the total morphing that's happened in publishing, where I was a kept author, to authors today who sign with major publishers are not kept at all. They're kind of throwing what I call Velcro publishing, in that if you stick, we might come in and support you. I mean, we'll produce the book, but you're going to have to run the show, babe. And that's the way it is today. So authors
That's
have
so
got to
true,
learn.
Judith.
Yeah, they've got to learn it.
I'll tell you what we've been finding a lot is, and I was kind of a little surprised at this, but, I've spent the last 6 years solely helping indie authors publish their own books. Now, I have a lot of clients who are book publishers, sure, and small presses, university presses, whatever. That's my private business. But what's really been interesting is how many traditionally published authors are starting now to come into the indie publishing field. And it's not always to publish their books. I'm not talking about hybrid authors. I'm talking, and a hybrid author, just in shorthand, I would consider somebody who's publishing both traditionally and independently at the same time. So really what they're coming into the field for is looking for help in marketing their own books. They're books that are produced by traditional publishers, just like what you were just describing, Judith. Mm-hmm. But now there's so many book marketers with so much marketing intelligence. There's so much exciting things going on in the online marketing space that authors are looking for help. And we have authors buying our toolkits to help them with their book launch, to help them with media kits. This Amazon Success Toolkit's been very popular. So I think that's really kind of an interesting development because they're not getting the marketing support that maybe in the past more authors used to get.
Well, I have to tell you, Joel, I was delighted that you shared with me the Amazon Success Toolkit before you officially launched it. And you welcomed some of my input. but what I loved, I thought it was good, and that had a lot of good information in it, very, very usable to take you to another level that you hadn't even thought about. And what I love about it, and I think we should go through, let's pick up some of the components and go through, was literally step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 4. This is what you need to do with that you don't need a PhD, you don't need an MBA, you don't need a BA or BA. What you just have to do is step 1, step 2, step 3. And I've always told authors, it doesn't matter if you've got an MBA or a PhD, you just have to be GOOD. And what the success toolkits show them is how to be GOOD. And when you're GOOD, dear authors who are listening in and authors to be, is that you can be great. Because when you're just GOD, you don't lose your window of opportunity. And that's what I see so many authors trying to start off really being great with a PhD, not realizing you just need to get your foot in the door to start building the fan bases.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when we looked at this, one of the constant problems that people have, and, Judith, I do a lot of consulting with authors, as you do. And one of the most consistent problems we run up to is you have an author. Now, the author might be a podiatrist or a nutritionist, a dietitian, a corporate executive. They could be a tree pruner, a landscaper. Everybody's got something they're doing, and then they want to do a book as well. So those people have a full-time job. They don't have a huge amount of time. They don't have like 3 weeks they could set aside and, well, now I'm going to spend all day, every day learning about book publishing. No, they can't do it. So I could tell people, listen, it's really smart to do your book as a print book, to do your book as an ebook, to do your book as an audio book. It's going to be better. Your fans are going to like it. You're going to make more money. And it's just a better way of publishing. But how can a person in that situation sit there and learn figure out, what are Amazon's requirements for uploading a print book interior file? Man, I don't want to have to sit and figure that out. Or where do you go to upload your audiobook? Or what is the size of the cover, the image you're supposed to upload for your ebook when you go to Kindle Direct Publishing? So the entire idea, Judith, behind the Amazon Success Toolkit was to bring all of this information into one place so that you could just get this PDF and open it up, and you have all the information right there in one place, period.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I was impressed. I mean, I shared with our webinar audience this morning, is that I'm not a DIYer. I pay people to do the ebook and upload it for me. I don't, I don't have time to do all that. But what I saw was, if you got your files all together, you're ready to go. You can do it within 30 minutes. And I thought that was stunning, Joel. 30 minutes.
Awesome,
I put the timer on and I watched you go through it. So, and I think that's what's a good idea to do, to understand. Okay, so if you want to learn something and play with it a little bit, in a half hour, I mean, we all kiss off a half hour, let's admit it, that you could do it. And that might be very cool. Or if you've got a lot of stuff on your hand, there are people out there who would also do it, and not for a heck of a lot of money. But the reality is, and I shared this with Joel before we started this morning, that the reality is that even if you don't do it yourself, you need to know what the process is. So you have a way to evaluate what you're being charged, sure, what's going on, and everything else.
And look, look at the video, and just for people who didn't go to the webinar, what we're talking about here is that during a webinar this morning with Judith and her AuthorU crowd, we went through the entire upload process at CreateSpace. There's a very long form you have to fill out with lots of questions and fields to fill out and questions they're asking you. It can be incredibly intimidating if you've never done it before, because every question is like a minefield. Well, if I answer that wrong, what's going to happen? You never know. So, and that, these type of obstacles are the things that people rarely talk about. They're always talking about the complicated stuff, but a simple thing like filling out a form can be really fraught with like terror for some people. So our idea was to go through and explain each of those fields and say, well, put this in that field. This is where you put your title. This is where you put your information. And a lot of that depends on your metadata. Yeah.
And then, you know what, we're going to take a quick break, but I think that since we've already thrown out that word metadata, let's go in and re-explain what metadata is, because it's really very simple, but I see too many authors get that kind of glaze in their eyes when they hear it. Yeah. So this is AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. This is Judith Briles, and with me today is Joel Friedlander.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so with me is Joel Friedlander. We're talking about the Amazon Success Toolkit and the webinar we did and the really pluses, the step-by-step, simple. I'm just going to say simplicity of it, which I think is a plus thing. So, Joel, what I'd like to do is let's deep dive into some of the things. And when we took the break, we were talking about metadata. I referred to the glaze in the eyes. And metadata is another word for social media. And keywords, those phrases that will hook you on to followers. Joel, you want to add to that?
Let's go through it, Judith, because this is really, really important for people to understand, and it's something that most people don't understand. But, there was a little bit of education over the last couple of years in the news about metadata, and that was due to the discovery of the NSA spying program, and that's when metadata broke into the public imagination because they kept saying, the government officials, we're not recording your phone calls, we're only gathering the metadata. What did they mean by that? And this is the same with a book. The metadata is the information about the book. So I can give you the metadata for my book. I'm not giving you the content, the words inside the book. The metadata just describes the book, and it's critically important on Amazon and everywhere else you're publishing. Here's why. The information in your metadata is used to interact with these search engines that people use when they look for stuff on Amazon or Google or anywhere else. One of the big things that Tracy did in creating the Amazon Success Toolkit was to put this forward, that Amazon really could be considered more of a search engine with a bazillion products than really a retailer. So when we want to make sure that our books can be found by the people that we want to buy them, we have to make sure our books are discoverable, and that's the word we use now, so that people can actually find them. And that has to do with your metadata. So in a simple way, metadata is just information about your book. For instance, what's the title of the book? That's your first piece of metadata, the title. The next piece of metadata is the subtitle. The next piece of metadata is the author name. And what's important here is that you understand how the metadata is used, and then you standardize your metadata for your book. So when you upload to one place, you have the exact same metadata you used at another place, because if you have a mismatch, it can create problems. Mm-hmm. Now, what's really important, I'd like to draw, and Judith, we could do a whole hour on this, you know that, but I'd like to just say that you should pay particular attention to a few of these metadata options. And I would say the three most important pieces of metadata are your keywords, your categories, and your book description. Okay, so the keywords are really important. A lot of the searching that people do uses keywords. If I go to Amazon and I type in canoeing or kayaking, that's a keyword. If I type in let's see, fat-free cookies, that's a keyword, right? And then Amazon's going to use that keyword and go looking for products that have a pretty good relevancy match to my keyword that I put in. So we can control that somewhat by selecting the perfect keywords for our book. And in the upload process, whether you're uploading to Kindle Direct Publishing or CreateSpace or Audible, there's going to be a place to put these keywords, categories, and descriptions in there. So that's really important. I mean, it's hard for somebody else to do this for you unless you hire an expert to do it. But I really prefer that authors study this themselves, particularly keywords, because the keywords really encapsulate what people are looking for when they're looking for a book like yours. And if you understand the keywords related to your subject area, you're going to be much more effective at writing articles, press releases, blog articles, anything that you have to sit down and write or communicate. If you understand the keywords people are using to find your books, you're going to be much more effective.
Well, I couldn't concur any more than that, because it starts off a lot of times when we ask authors who are they writing for, and many say, oh, everyone, forget that one. and then you ask them to try to let's start drilling down here a little bit, and then you start going into these areas on that. The more, I've always saying the more you niche yourself, the bigger your market becomes. And I think that having the right keywords brings you so much closer to your desired market if you understand that. And you're right, it does help build a publishing empire. Whatever you write on further, where you blog on it, whether you're doing newsletters, articles, whether you're repurposing, whether you're creating new material, it's all tied around that. Now, Joel, my understanding is that everyone's a little bit different on how much metadata they allow in their information. Do you want to kiss on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, that's true, and that has to do with the software, basically. I mean, when Amazon or CreateSpace set up the form for you to upload your book files, they created on that form in their software a field that says description. Now, the description field, and it says right on there at the bottom of the window, a little tiny gray type, it says up to 4,000 characters. So, in English, the average word has 5 or 6 characters per word, generally. So you're looking at about 500 or 600 words you could type in there. Now, if you go to the next vendor, their description field might say 2,000 characters instead of 4,000. So obviously, you're going to need both versions. And that's really the only kind of variation. Some retailers or distributors will ask you for, like, the weight of the book. Obviously, that's not for ebooks. Some of them will ask you, different how they're packed. But by and large, the basic metadata, like the subject area, the categories, the keywords, the descriptions, the author name, the number of pages, the price, the ISBN, those are standard items, and they're going to be used by everybody in the book world.
And they are. And they also, some of the descriptors, when they use the keywords, they could very well limit you to the number of words and or characters. Sometimes they do both. Sometimes they give you that. And I know one of my clients who was just uploading a bunch of information into Amazon for her brand new book, that last time I was on Amazon, when I was putting some of my own information in for my new book, I had 7 keywords. So now it's down to 4. Were you aware of that?
Well, last time I looked, Judith, it was 5.
Okay, so now we're down
Amazon,
to 4.
It's a moving target.
Whoa. Sure. It just keeps changing. And of course, what's always imperative, and Joel did demonstrate this on the video today, of how getting into your descriptors in these categories, which we're going to kiss on, but that, your choice when you enter in and post anything on Amazon, or Ingram Spark, is good. You're going to be limited to a general word or two, but the secret sauce is the drilling down and getting into the right categories. Correct, Joel?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anything more important for discoverability than the categories. Now, Amazon doesn't make it easy for you either, because
no.
So they have a set of categories for ebooks, and those categories are different than the ones for print books.
Yeah, which I've been trying to.
Makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me, and I wonder. Obviously, the two teams never talk to each other.
Well, it's really hard to know. I mean, obviously, Amazon is a huge company with lots of divisions, thousands of employees spread all over the place, growing really, really fast. So, it's really hard to assign motives to this stuff. It could be just that they were, came from different companies that Amazon bought and smashed together, and they never really learned to talk to each other. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, we as authors have to deal with this stuff. Also, the other thing you're going to find that's really will frustrate you tremendously is if you look, like, follow Judith's advice, which is really good advice. Look at the books in your category, niche, or genre that are doing well, that are really selling well. Look at the top 25 books, let's say. What categories are they in? You know, you're going to be surprised when you start looking, because the different publishers will find different creative ways to manipulate this system. Now, what's going to frustrate you is when you see, oh, that book is in, let's say, the subcategory directories, but you go to do that and you can't even find that category anywhere, because not all of them will show up on the little category picker screen, which is incredibly frustrating. Now, all of these problems with dealing with Amazon and your book listings only make it more important for you to understand how vital it is that you have your Amazon Author Central page set up. Because if you do have any problems, you must communicate with Amazon through your Author Central account.
Well, and I've always said that Author Central, Joel, is the secret sauce that Amazon has, because you can get Amazon to call you in 5 seconds, which I always think is the cat's meow. For to get a really live person. And those people, when they call you, I have found them to be, they're not in India. They're not in Malaysia. There's not language barrier issues for some of us, or understandability issues at times. What they are is they are extraordinarily helpful. And I'm not saying that people in foreign countries are not. It's just sometimes there is a little barrier in understanding some of the language differences and trying to get through. And when you are frustrated as an author, let me tell you, you really want someone who can say, oh, you know what, here's how we can fix this. And let me go into this. And I've had them do more maneuvering and changing within seconds that might have taken me hours banging my head together. So with that, we're going to take another quick break. With me is Joel Friedlander. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. And we're talking Amazon success today.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Today on AuthorU, I have Joel Friedlander, one of my favorite people, and we've been talking about Amazon success, and we were really kissing on one of the really secrets is being in the right categories, and it's just not fiction, nonfiction, business. There is so much more that you can do, and yet I see authors routinely just leave it, fiction, nonfiction, business, romance, and that's it. So how can we break their habits, Joel?
How can we break their habits? Yeah, well, give them something, attract them with something. I mean, that's always been the approach I've taken. I mean, it's more about attraction. And in a sense, I've often said that blogging isn't really all that different from self-publishing in a way. I mean, obviously, we're not creating books that go into the retail system, but the fact is that we can, write whatever we want, and now we can publish whatever we want. But what I'm trying to get at here is the idea, the sole idea at the core of what we call content marketing. In other words, if I have expertise or I have something that's really would be attractive to you, if I just put out some content about that, and you can find it, I have a good chance of attracting you using my content. And so, if we could create the right content that accomplishes what we want and put it in front of the people who are most prepared to receive it, I think that, you could change habits. You could do a lot of things. That's a big way of moving a lot of people if you can do it properly. And the key there is really understanding what compels people to action and how to get your work in front of the largest number of people. Those are the two things that you need, and you can move huge populations of people if you can figure that out.
And, that is the critical question. How do I get my book into the hands of a gazillion people? So, now we're going to go back to, which is what we'd all would love to do, really, is that I mentioned earlier, I mentioned this on the webinar this morning, but I also mentioned that I tell everyone you need to do some competitive spying. And one of the books I just finished work on was called Win-Loss Analysis, and it was all on, when I first met her, I said, oh, so you're a spy. She teaches companies how to spy on other companies, and she is involved in that process. So they're their competitors, and you need that, you've got competitors. So where Joel said, what are the top 25 books? At least go for the top 10 books. And whatever your genre is, and in your authors, and you really need to explore what they're doing, how they describe stuff, what keywords they're using. And I always recommend going to their homepage and what's the first paragraph say, because usually it's a gold mine of descriptions that with a little tweaking and twisting, voila, you may have your descriptors you're looking for. So that's just my 2 bits on that.
Very interesting. Yeah, well, I think, and getting our book in front of the most number of people, obviously, we're talking today about Amazon, and most of our marketing obviously happens off Amazon. Amazon, the sales page for your book, is the destination, the landing page, if you will, that you want to send people to if you're attracting people to buying your book. So that's where they're going to do the transaction. In this case, because we're talking about Amazon, there are other retailers. But there's not much marketing you can do there except for using the internal functions that Amazon makes available to authors. And that's why I'm so big on people really understanding the metadata and the book descriptions and how you set all that up, excuse me, can be really critical. So we know you need a good book cover because Amazon is going to show the book cover as the primary way of advertising your book to potentially interested readers. Now, that tells you right there you have to have a really professional book cover that's optimized for display on a computer screen. And I want to tell you something else, Judith. I was talking to a developer yesterday, and he told me that at this point in time, of all the online traffic in the world, all of it, 60% of it is now on mobile devices. Okay? So 60% of the people looking at whatever it is you're doing are looking at it either on a phone or a tablet. Excuse me. Now, that's really important, and it's really important for cover designers to understand that. Go on your phone when you have a chance and look at Amazon and see how those book covers come up. Okay, so 60% of your traffic, that's what they're going to see. If your cover is not optimized to be really legible, effective, and have impact at that size, you're going to lose book sales. So what I'm trying to say here is that whatever tools Amazon provides authors, we have to learn how to maximize our usage of them. So your book cover, the metadata that we talked about, because that's what's going to make your book discoverable. We talked about keywords. Another thing I really want you to do is when you're making up your book description, remember the keywords that you just researched, maybe. Put those keywords in your book description. And don't just lob them in there. Use them in a natural language way. So if your keyword is publish a book, which is one of my keywords, you could write a sentence. This book will teach you how to publish a book quickly. So you see, I've written a sentence. I put the keyword in the sentence, but it's completely natural. That's what you want to do. And, with 600 words, you could do a pretty good job of getting every keyword you want into that book description. That is going to help you.
You can, and how to publish a book is also one of my keywords, and it was very interesting when I was doing one of the graders. And you know what, Joel, I want to give all our listeners a website to go to grade their website, and that will include how it does in the mobile unit. And the folks at HubSpot to put this together. But if you go to website.grader.com, that's website.grader.com, you're going to be able to get a very quick evaluation. You just put in your website, your HTTP number, and just the website. And you put that in, and they will do a very fast assessment and they'll even let you know what links are broken, but they will quickly assess you. And I know I spent the money last year, Joel, to make sure that all our websites were mobile friendly. To do that, and it's a huge part of your grade today. It's like 30% out of 100 of your grading. Now, there's some things that might be irrelevant. For example, if you have a shopping cart, or if you may use, for example, PayPal, but because you don't have something that says whether it's your individual security, you'll get dinged 10 points on that. You don't care about that, because PayPal has already taken care of its security, as well as a lot of the other sites that do the online transactions. But it's really important to grade your site, find out how you're doing, where your hiccups are, and if you need a makeover, we need to do this every few years, do these makeovers. Some parts you can leave stagnant, other parts you're going to have to fix up. Mobile is one of them.
Absolutely. And, I actually use, I like the HubSpot suite of tools. It's really good. I also use the Google mobile-friendly test, which they have up for anybody to use, because I figure if Google says it's okay, and I know it's okay, and you can find that by just Googling Google mobile-friendly, because it's got a weird URL, and you will find it that way, Google mobile-friendly. And it's funny about that because I recognized about 3 or 4 years ago, I was spending a lot of time on my smartphone. So I thought, well, a lot of other people are doing that too, and my blog didn't look very good on mobile. So I actually hired a friend of mine who did a complete conversion for mobile, and it was a custom job, Judith. It was absolutely beautiful, custom colors, custom menus, everything just worked beautifully, and I really loved it. And then when Google came out with the mobile-friendly test, I plugged my blog in there, and it said, your blog is not mobile-friendly. And I researched it, and I found out that they don't care if you've got a special site. They want you to be using software that is responsive. So the same software would show a mobile-friendly site as well as a desktop-friendly or a laptop-friendly. It responds to the environment in which you open it. That's what they want. I had to throw away the whole thing, Judith. I had to throw away all the money I spent on it, development. I just had to can it. And the reason I did that, it looked beautiful, it worked fine. So why did I do that? I did it because
it wasn't
I had
efficient.
no choice. I had no choice. My business runs on search engine. I get half my traffic from Google. If Google decides they don't like my mobile, guess what? I don't like it either. So I just got rid of it. I actually spent quite a bit of money. I rebuilt my entire blog, and now it looks really good on mobile, and I passed Google's mobile-friendly test.
All right.
That's all I was trying to do.
That's perfect. All right. When we come back for our final segment, we'll get a little bit more into that because there is more to it because I went through some similar things. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU and your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207 or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, with me is Joel Friedlander today, and we've been talking about a lot of stuff, but it really all involves around your personal author success. And it started with me leading off about he's got multiple toolkits. His latest one is the Amazon Success Toolkit, which I would highly recommend to all of you to get your hands on. And you literally, if you go to the Joel, why don't you give them the right website to go to snag this?
Okay, so this is the Amazon Success Toolkit, and you can find it on our site at authortoolkits.com/Amazon Success. It's all one word. So again, that's authortoolkits.com/Amazon Success. And should I say about the sale we had?
Yeah, why don't we? Just tell them. If they jump on it, take advantage of it.
Yeah, we had this great webinar this morning for Judith's AuthorU people, and we decided to extend a special discount for people who are interested in the Amazon Success Toolkit just for AuthorU folks. So we have two versions, but the standard edition, that usually we sell this all day, every day at $97. It's a really extensive training tool that will show you exactly how to publish print books, ebooks, and audio books at Amazon through Kindle Direct Publishing, CreateSpace, and Audible. In addition, we also deal with the Amazon Author Central page setup. That's really important for authors, so we got that in there too. So it comes with worksheets and checklists to help you organize your metadata, all the stuff we've been talking about. And it just walks you through it. It's fully illustrated and very easy to use. So what we've done is we've discounted that 20%. So if anybody wants to dive in and get this toolkit before Monday midnight, and that's Monday, July 11th, you can use our coupon code, and you'll get it for $77 instead of $97. So $20 stays in your pocket. That's a good thing. The coupon code is AST20 off. AST20 off. Now, some people we thought might want a little bit more and as I said earlier today, if you're thinking about publishing, you've got a manuscript that's just about ready, you're starting to wonder about Amazon and how to do all that stuff, we have a plus edition that adds to the Amazon Success Toolkit one of our pre-designed book templates. This is a Microsoft Word file you can open. You have to have Microsoft Word, and you can just pour your manuscript into it, and in short order, you will have a book. You can output a PDF, and that You just upload it to CreateSpace, and away you go. You can use the same template to output a file that you can convert into an ebook file using a free tool. And we explain how to do all this in our very thorough formatting guide. So we have the Amazon Success Toolkit, regularly $97 on sale for $77, and the Amazon Success Toolkit Plus edition that adds that template for making print ebooks ordinarily sells for $157, available to you because you know Judith Briles for only $127, savings of $30. You have to use our coupon code, which is AST20 off. And that's the offer. I think it's pretty amazing. I mean, $77, Judith. The amount of instruction in here, I can't believe that even if you didn't even read the whole thing, and I get that. Maybe you're just going to read the part on CreateSpace or Kindle, and even if you learn anything about optimizing your sales page on Amazon, you're going to make up that $77 really, really fast. And then, of course, you've got it forever. So if you're worried about the cost, that's why I'm saying that, because this is an amortizable cost. The cost itself will quickly go away compared to the power and the leverage these tools will put in your hands.
Well, I can tell you that I have paid $200 to $300 to do my ebook stuff, and I was fine doing that. But when I went through the process and watched it, half an hour, ding, 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 done, upload, done. Okay, so you're spending $77 and saving $300. That's not bad. And that's the way I look at it.
Listen, hey, Judith, we sell this service on our book design template site. We actually sell this service for several $100s. But
there you go.
It's really not hard to do. It's not hard.
No, and it's a way to save money and learn, and you do learn in the process. And I'll tell you the other plus is because Amazon is this labyrinth of stuff that we can't deny. It's here. It's going to move your books. And, thank God for Amazon, because I'll tell you, the self and the indie market would not be alive anywhere near what it is today. It would just be the old vanity press garbage. So it's a very good thing. So when you can understand how to work it, and we can see some of the tools to go inside, and just some of the little things that Joel and I were talking about with the categories that are hanging out, how to go in, how to goose it up, how to use Author Central, it's like a gold mine. So take advantage of it, please.
Here's a tiny tip. I mean, for instance, and people who haven't published before usually don't know this, but it's very common to see people say, and I've done it myself, Amazon #1 bestseller in my category. But, what category was I in? I mean, the fact of the matter is the categories on Amazon are really interesting. For instance, I was #1 in the category, now follow this, Kindle Store, Kindle eBooks, reference, writing, research, and publishing guides, publishing and books. So that's the publishing and books sub-category. But hey, I was #1. And the fact of the matter is that is a form of social proof. In other words, if you can demonstrate that a lot of other people think that what you did is good and valuable, they are more likely to want to buy it themselves. That's what we call social proof. So if you come to my website and it says that I have 40,000 subscribers or something, you stop and you think, well, there must be something of value here. And this kind of social proof can be really, really powerful. And Amazon makes it available if you know how to use their system. That's what the Amazon Success Toolkit is about. It's about learning to use all of these systems at Amazon.
Joel, you really brought up something that was really important, and that's social proof. And figuring out how to drill down. Number one, I can't tell you how many experts out here will poo-poo #1 on Amazon. Well, let me just say this to all of you. Is it the experts you're selling to your book, or is it the regular people? fans of whether it's romance or fantasy or sci-fi or business or health, nutrition, fill in the blank, aren't you really selling to just people like your next door neighbor or someone else who has some interest? It's not really the pros and the experts that might put their nose up. And when they do see, gosh, bestseller, #1, I'm telling you, it does get their attention.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's no substitute. If you could be specific, and here's an example of something that's meaningful compared to something that's not meaningful. Now, Judith, you know I judge book covers all the time. That's part of what I do. And I've been trying to teach people to not put on their book covers a phrase like, quote, best-selling author, unquote. If you put the phrase best-selling author on your book, first of all, it makes your book look really amateurish because it's completely unspecific. What do you mean best-selling author? It's a meaningless phrase. If you put on it, New York Times best-selling author, that's okay. If you put on Amazon best-selling, Amazon #1 bestseller, that's okay because that's specific. We can check that. We could look into it and say, yeah, that book was a bestseller on Amazon or the New York Times. But just saying best-selling author or world-famous author, that is not going to help you. It's going to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. I've had also let me ask you this, Joel, since in your book design, I've had other people say, because we were talking one day and someone asked me, how many book awards have you won, Judith? I said, I don't know. A lot. And I know. And so we counted up like 25 book awards. And she said, so why don't you put International Book Award winner on your covers? And I just always not, because I can't name a bunch. And so I have just avoided that.
Yeah, well.
Is that a mistake?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the statements have to be clear. They have to be accurate. They have to be checkable in some way. If you have a credential, then by all means you should use it. If you can't be specific, I would, maybe drop back and think about that.
All right. Guess what? We're out of time. So everyone, go to Author Success Toolkits. Is that the right website?
AuthorToolkits.com /Amazon Success.
There you go. There. So everyone, go and grab it and take advantage of our author. Thanks so much.